Hi there, I'm Don Alejandro. This is my good friend,
John Hardy.
This is Two Grumpy Men on what it is to be an American. Now, we started off in the last video talking to American values, and this is something I'm very keen on. To be an American is to subscribe to certain values. Rule of law being one you touched on. Separation of powers. Respect of privacy, liberty, and basically the stuff that we associate with being American. And that to me is something that we are actually fighting for. What are those ideas? And the left, I think, is starting to slip outside those bonds. They're starting to try to rule everything from the court system.
Well, look, they're using the rule of law. Now, look, I think that to be American, it goes a little bit beyond just the rule of law and due process and all that stuff. Most countries outside the United States have a rule of law. Mm-hmm. The due process might be different, and the way the society is set up completely different. I think that what makes the United States and what makes a person who lives here an American is the ability to try and accept the fact that they can be who they want to be here if they follow certain ways of living here. Okay, the formula. There's a formula to living in this country, right?
I agree.
Because God forbid that you go against the law in any which way that you cannot defend yourself in, and you're going to be in a world of hurt. That being said, the United States was founded as a republic,
yes,
not as a democracy, and you mentioned earlier that the United States was formed out of ideas. Mm-hmm. Well, the idea of a republic and of the democracy are two completely opposite ideas. A democracy is a mob rule. It's the majority make the rules for the minority no matter what, and the majority can be trying to jump off a cliff.
Well, it's four wolves and a lamb voting on what to have for dinner.
Well, it can be. It can be. It doesn't mean that that's what it is, but it can be.
No,
I'll take you just one little thing. For example, Athens was one of the first democracies.
Yes.
Okay, ancient Athens. They're the ones who crucified Socrates and had a huge debacle where they had to abandon democracy and accept a different form of government. It was tried. Mm-hmm. So when I hear people say we're a democracy, it makes me want to puke, because there isn't actually no liberties in a democracy. There is the idea of freedom and liberty, but there is no liberty because the majority make the rules for the minorities.
Yeah, it is unfortunately a consensus-based reality where, in theory, exaggerated example, the majority of people decide to pass a law that says pi equals 3. They decide to pass a law that says, flowers are a vegetable. They can theoretically do that with majority rule. It doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it right. But, they can decide to do these things. And that, of course, has terrible ideas. Now, I wanted to actually qualify your statement a little bit in that the United States is actually a hedge enemy. The idea is that the states are crucibles. Mm-hmm. How does California do it? How does Texas do it? How does Vermont do it? And from that, the other states could go, wow, Idaho's really kicking ass. Maybe we should see what Idaho is doing right. California is going to hell. What is California doing wrong? Mm-hmm. The federal government was responsible for two things: what happens outside our borders,
correct,
and what happens between our borders,
correct.
But I just wanted to make that point
now
clear.
It's switched though.
Now it's starting to switch,
right? And it's actually been switching for quite a long time. I remember my poli-sci teacher, telling me this. That this was 100 years ago. not quite that much, but that there's been a switch in how the federal government and the states are being ruled, and yes. that it's no longer the individual rights of the state as much as the federal government imposing itself on the rights of the states.
And that is what I'm saying when I say American values. Now, you just helped me define them. One of the American values is that the states had a high degree of sovereignty.
Yes.
And that value is one that we should fight very hard for. and maybe we should talk about more in a future video.
I think we should.
Until then, my name is Don Alejandro, and this is my good friend.
John Harney.
This is Two Grumpy Men on American Values.